when Antonio Brown said that Big Ben has an owner's-like mentality in terms of criticizing his teammates. Is that accurate, do you think?
Yeah, to an extent. I don't necessarily think that all owners are that public in the way that they address their team, the way that they talk about their players. Obviously, we see someone like Jerry Jones, who's extremely involved in that. Maybe John Elway, when you have some different things happening, you bring those guys to the podium to speak about coaching changes. But owners don't really get involved in that. I just think it's something we haven't necessarily seen from franchise quarterbacks. When you look at guys around the league, there's usually a put it on me mentality. And Ben has most certainly been very open with what he feels about teammates, whether that's positive or negative. And I think those things don't always play out well in the locker room when you're looking at a guy in a leadership position.
So that's my I guess, let's then really put it out on the table here, Ryan Clark. So let's say Antonio Brown gets his wish, and it sure looks like he will. He's gone. How many people do you think in that locker room will look at Ben and say, this is part of your fingerprints are on this thing? And then that would be a lingering issue for Tomlin.
I don't necessarily know if it'll be a lingering issue, but I do know that that is the sentiment to some degree. And not just in the Antonio Brown situation. I think in many of the different issues they've had in the locker room, his leadership style, his natural leadership ability is something that Ben has been trying to work on. I can tell you as a teammate of his, it wasn't something that came natural to him. He wasn't one of those guys who walked in right away and you said, you know what, this is the face of our franchise and he knows how to handle it. And so I think he's had some missteps along the way in this Antonio Brown situation and in other situations with the team. You go back to Mason Rudolph being drafted and some things that are said there. So he will shoulder some of this blame, but I also know they've been dealing with the Antonio Brown situation, the Le'Veon Bell situation all year, and the team still tried to go out and play, but this is something that's been looming over them. I think they'll feel good to get some of those things out of the way, and I also believe they know Ben well enough to continue to go out and play, just understanding who he is.
Here we are with Antonio Brown announcing, even though it's really not his announcement, but it seems like it's going to happen, his exit from Pittsburgh. Le'Veon Bell about to be a free agent, we assume, going somewhere else. And the Big Ben, Brown, Le'Veon Bell era will end with 0 Super Bowls, and everyone wondering if Big Ben is part of the cause and is the coach part of the cause. And how did we get here to this point, do you think?
I think everybody's part of it. I don't think anyone gets to be absolved of their responsibility in this situation, whether it's Coach Tomlin making the correct decisions and the correct corrections when it comes to Antonio Brown, some of his antics, Big Ben, and some of the things that he's done. Not, you go to Kevin Colbert and, Art Rooney Jr. and how they've handled the Le'Veon Bell contract situation. I think everybody has a hand in what's happened with this team. You know what I also think, though, Rich? I think we're in the era to where the New England Patriots has confused us, right? They have made us think that consistent excellence is easy to attain, and it's not. We watch them go 9 of 18 years, and we forget that until they won 6 Super Bowls, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been in business for over 80 years, were the team that had the most Super Bowls, and they only had 6. It's hard to win. It's hard to get to a Super Bowl. And so I think we are very hard on the Pittsburgh Steelers because of their history of excellence, what the organization has represented, and because they play with the New England Patriots, who have made us think that you're supposed to get there when you have talent. Some of the discord we've seen there has not allowed this team to reach its full potential, but I think everybody played a part in that, and you can't just blame it on those 3 guys, Coach Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, and Antonio Brown, as we mentioned.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.